Hey Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And welcome to episode 359.
That's the one.
Welcome to another episode, Who fans. Welcome to another week. Hope you are keeping well and safe. We hope you've had a cracking week. And that you've all managed to do something Doctor Who related. Never in sync in that bit.
No.
Probably my fault. When we're done recording, listener, at the end, Adam's like, for F's sake, why do you never do that bit properly?
You should hear him trying to whip the round table team into shape when they did the Aaaaaaaallons-y. He's like, come on.
Oh, yeah.
Whips out. Come on. Get in time.
Those guys, eh?
When you're next talking to them?
Yeah, I'm going to have to corral them all into a little room and hammer that out. Be like, oi, when we're recording next. So fingers crossed. Actually, now you mentioned that, fingers crossed, next week we'll have our July round table. So, yeah, keep an eye on the old tweets, the old Twitter for that.
Talking of those guys, mate, I think I saw on the old Facebook that it's Harry's birthday today. So happy birthday, Haz.
It's today, isn't it?
Our writing team. Yeah, how do we say his surname? Harry?
It's Harry Marciniak, I believe.
Marciniak,
yeah. Oh, old Harry.
That sounds like a race, doesn't it? The Marciniaks are coming to take over the planet.
The Marciniaks, yes.
Yes, Harry's one of our writers. For any listeners that aren't aware, he's one of our writing team, isn't he?
Yes.
On our website.
Yes, and Harry's a very good actor as well. So any scouts out there, anybody looking to cast anybody in TV, film and theatre, let us know. We'll pass Harry on. So we wound him up a few round tables ago because it was when we were running up to the news of, are we going to get an announcement for the next Doctor yet? Is it not going to happen? And, rumours were going wild and the bookies were putting like 1 million names in the hat. And there was one round table where Harry couldn't make it and we were like, oh, yeah. Off to Wales, are we? Off to a certain studio. Bit of bad wolf action. We know what's going on. Bless him. But no, he looks so young. I don't even know how old he is. He's one of these guys that just annoyingly looks about 3 or 4 years younger than what he actually is. So I think he's in his early, I think he's 20, I don't even know, 19?
I don't know how old
20?
he is. All I know is he's a year older today, however old he is.
Yeah.
He's probably 35.
Probably 30, yeah, probably 35, yeah. He's had a load of jobs already.
When he's going for those auditions, they're like, yeah, we haven't got any parts for teenagers. He's like, I'm 36 years old. Oh, right. I wish I had that gene.
Oh, God.
Looking young.
Yeah. Good genes. But happy birthday, Harry.
Mm-hmm.
You little... Right, we have some news to get on with this week, which is great. We've got a couple of stories, which is unheard of these days.
Unbelievable.
We knew it was coming, though. We knew that once the announcement was out the way, and we had all the stuff out the way with David Tennant and Catherine Tate and all that jazz, it would quiet down a bit. But we have one story relating to the upcoming new stuff, the new era of Doctor Who, plus some cool events that are going on up in the north of the UK, which we'll fill you in on. But before we crack on with all that, like I said, we hope you've had a good Doctor Who week. Have you done anything Doctor Who-y, dude?
I haven't, I'm afraid to say. No, I haven't done anything. I've had a really crazily busy week. I just haven't stopped for breath. So I'm afraid I haven't done anything Doctor Who related this week. The only thing I've really got to talk about is I just saw, or yesterday, that Segan Akinola, is that how you say his name? he's tweeted that he's officially announced that he's moving on from Doctor Who. I think he put something like 4 series, 1 Doctor, 1 showrunner. It's time to, one great job or something. Time to move on. And Joe Martin immediately picked him up on it and said, he quoted his tweet by saying, 1 Doctor, ? Confused face.
Ooh.
So Segan, you're in trouble there, mate. Segan's moving on. Not really surprised, are you? I mean, I think his sound, his music is very much tied to the Chibnall era, and I think with Russell coming in, we want things to freshen up. So I'm not surprised. Are you to hear he's moving on?
I don't think so. I think it's always, you never quite know what's going on behind the scenes, do you, with that stuff though, because you never know how much of a clean sweep you want them to do when you have these big changeovers, when the Moff Bag took over with Matt Smith and so on.
Yeah, he kept Murray on, didn't he?
Yeah, I was going to say, so he kept on a lot of the production staff, kept Murray on and some other people. So, but you never know. Whereas when Chibbers took over, that felt like he really did a proper,
Oh yeah,
proper clean sweep. So who knows what Russell's up to? But does that open a door for a certain person to come back?
Well, that's what everyone's saying, is it? They're all like, "Oh, Murray come back." Now, I get the feeling you'd love Murray to come back. I get the feeling you'd be up for that.
Yes and no, bud. Yes and no. Yes, I would, because familiar is good. We know what you're going to get with Murray, but at the same time, no. I would like to see. Do you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see somebody to put a really cool twist on Doctor Who music. So we've had Murray, which has got the big, the big kind of in your face action style stuff, as well as some really lovely themes that they associate with certain characters, which is really nice. And then you had Segan, who was almost the other end of the spectrum, I would say, and it was very much more just supporting atmospheric music for the story rather than for characters as such. So I'd like to see someone do like a bit of both, and this will lead on to my week. Actually, I've not done anything Doctor Who either, but I have been on a massive binge of Stranger Things.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, so me and my wife, we hadn't seen season 4, and I hadn't seen, so she's never seen it at all, and I'd only watched up to the end of season 2 previously. So we both decided, okay, let's just watch it right from the beginning. So we've watched all the way up, and we're now at episode 3 of season 4. And one thing that's really cool about the soundtrack for that is that it kind of does a bit of both. So there's like certain themes that play when the main character, the cast of kids are all together. There's another theme that plays whenever you're in the Upside Down. There's another one that plays, when there's an emotional scene. So it's not quite anchored to a specific character as such. And it does have its kind of atmospheric music, obviously, but it also caters for like the action scenes and the horror scenes and stuff. So that would be kind of cool. I'm not sure if that particular style would fit, because that's got more of a kind of 80s vibe, synth kind of, keyboardy sound.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I'm not saying to pluck out the sound that, from that, but yeah, I think something like that would be good. And I don't think, I don't know, Murray might be able to do that stuff. I'm not sure, but so yes, Murray would be cool, but also somebody new that could do some of the just another take, really, but just a bit more than Segan, not as in your face as Murray, in between.
Yeah, no, that's a really good shout. Actually, I'm on the same page, because I do love Murray's music, but yeah, I feel like we want, because obviously RTD's getting the old team back together. I think people just assume
the band back together.
He's getting the band back together, so we just assume Murray's waiting in the wings to be asked. But I do think it'd be nice if we got, because music is very important and it does set the feel of the show. And I think because we've had 12 years, was it, of Murray? I personally, as much as I love his music, I think it would be nice to have a new composer, someone like David Arnold, or so, I don't know, just somebody fresh to give it a fresh feel. Because we don't want to go back, we don't want to look through those rose tinted glasses and go back, to what we had before. It has to be fresh as well as familiar, I think, for it to work. But I do think it's the right time for Segan to move on. I agree with you. Some of his music is more atmospheric. It's I would like something in between the two. So I'm more of a Murray Gold fan in terms of the music style in Doctor Who. But I will say this for Segan. I liked his theme. I really liked the opening theme in terms of, I think he went back and managed to capture a bit of that original feel that the original theme had. So hats off to him. I mean, it's so much better than Murray's awful Screechy Cat, the 12th Doctor theme that we had towards the end is possibly the worst, that screechy violin version of the theme tune. I don't know how... would Moffat have made that decision? Who decided when that was submitted that yes, that's the one, because it was dreadful. So Segan's theme tune, I think, is really cool. And I will say this for him: we talked. I think some of the episodes we criticised his music for being a bit bland at times, but I think we both said that he's definitely mixed it up recently. So the last couple of specials we've said, haven't we, that he's a bit more, I wouldn't say themes, but a bit more going on, a bit more orchestration, and he's definitely sort of up the ante a bit of his music over the last couple of specials. So, yeah, I think he's definitely given Chibnall what Chibnall wanted, a fresh sound. Might not be to my taste all the time, but I think overall he's done a fairly good job for that era. But I'm sort of glad he's not staying on. I think too much of that music palette would it is just getting a little bit stale at times, so
yes,
time to move on.
Yes, and there's obviously a ton of great composers out there.
Exactly, yeah.
So who knows, we'll keep you guys updated though when we hear, because I'm assuming that we'll find out that stuff before the first episode or before the 60th, whatever. Actually no, because Segan would have already composed everything for the 60th episode, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think that's all wrapped up.
That's all wrapped up. Yeah. So when we start the brand new stuff proper, it will probably be announced before that who the composer is and whatnot. So, yeah, good times. Right. Before we crack on with this news, then remember to subscribe or follow this podcast in your preferred podcast app. So that way you won't miss a show when it lands every single Friday. You can also listen on the website, which is bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. All the episodes on there available to listen for free. And we're on the socials too, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. There are links on the website. Give us a like and a follow over there as we chat Doctor Who throughout the week. And we have a free Discord server as well. Again, there's a link on the website. Hop in there and chat Doctor Who with lots of other Who fans. And as Adam mentioned earlier, one of our writers, Harry, go and check his stuff out on the website, along with Maria, Jordan and Mark and Matt. Go and read all of their cool reviews and articles and whatnot. And lastly, don't forget to remember, very important, to go and check out Adam's stuff on YouTube. It is, of course, The Geek's Handbag.
Yes, go and have a look at my YouTube channel. There'll be, when this podcast goes out on a Friday, there'll be a new video out today. So you're getting a free podcast and a video from yours truly. So go and have a look at that. Yeah. But he says, I haven't uploaded it yet, but it should be out by now.
Yeah, go and check it all out. Go and check out all the things. It's all good. Rightio, let's crack on with some news. I'm going to land this beast and we'll get into it.
All right.
Rightio, first up we have there's some news that's related to the upcoming new era of Doctor Who, and that is fans of the old behind-the-scenes style show that was out from, I'm sure it was series 1 or 2. Right from the get-go, we had a very, very cool behind-the-scenes show called Doctor Who Confidential, which was just so good. It had loads of little behind-the-scenes interviews and snippets and following people around with a camera and all that stuff. It was great, and it went away, and everyone was like, "Boo, we want it back." So, as expected, Russell has come through with the goods before he's even got into the stuff properly with episode 1, and a new behind the scenes Doctor Who spin-off show will accompany the new series from next year in 2023. So Russell T has commissioned this series to run alongside the new series of Doctor Who, and it's called Doctor Who Unleashed. Ooh. And it will begin next year in conjunction with the 60th anniversary special that has David Tennant back to reprise his role and Catherine Tate to come back and reprise her role as Donna Noble. It's going to be presented by BBC radio presenter and and gaming journalist as well, Stephen Powell. I don't know who Stephen Powell is. I'm not listening to the right radio stations, clearly. But apparently it will have a very similar format to Doctor Who Confidential, which is great. That launched back in 2005 and ran all the way up to 2012. So there we go, buddy. Russell T bringing back the old behind-the-scenes stuff, which is great news, right? This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, no, it is great. I mean, I very often when we watch a newer series episode of Who, I will watch the confidentials afterwards because they're a lot of fun, actually. You know, just the behind the scenes stuff you get to see. I'm thinking of the next, when we did the Next Doctor recently, the Christmas one, and I watched David Tennant, Dave Morrissey being pulled along on this little sledge thing on the floor when they're supposed to be being carried along by one of those cyber shades, and they were showing how they filmed it, and they were just laughing so much. It was just a real, fun to watch. And Russell's always so enthusiastic on the confidentials, you just really feel the passion from him. So I think it's something that's been really missing from this era, to be honest with you. I mean, this is not throwing shade at Chibnall. He's just a totally different person to Russell, but Russell's very much sort of like the face of his era. So he really puts himself out there and, and seems to enjoy sort of doing things like confidential, whereas Chibnall really takes a back seat, does the sort of minimal amount of promotion for himself. I feel like it's nice to have that presence of getting a bit of an inside look behind the scenes, really. And when did it stop? When did Confidential actually...
2012.
Like what? So what Doctor was that? Peter? Did it go all the way up to Peter's run, or did they sort of stop it before? Or I can't remember now. No, I'm not sure.
Can't remember.
No, but it's I mean, I used to love it because I remember it got shorter and shorter, didn't it? Like I watched the Confidential for Waters of Mars when we reviewed that recently, and that was fantastic. But it's as long as the episode. It's the Confidential is an hour long. It's like a proper behind the scenes program. But it was brilliant just to see all the goings on behind the scenes and just hearing the actors talk, and David saying about, my time is, now that I'm leaving, I'm sort of feeling this. And it's just really, really nice to sort of, to have that sort of bonus to the episode, I think.
Yeah, so it would be, dude. Yeah. And it has been lacking that little bit of, because Chibbers, as you said, just didn't really put anything out really to people to get their teeth in. So it was very, very much relying on that wait and see kind of approach to things. Yeah. But yeah, it was cool. I mean, it ran up to, I'll tell you what, dude, it ran up to right up to the end of Series 6, mate. So at the start of 2012, that was Series 7. So that was Matt's, Matt's last run. So it ran up to there, which wasn't bad going, really. So what's that, 6 years, 7 years that ran for? Which is not too bad. And this story is actually coming from the Mirror newspaper, mirror.co.uk. And apparently one of their sources said that Confidential was always hugely popular amongst fans when Eccleston brought the show back as the 9th Doctor and continued during David's tenure into the TARDIS as the 10th Doctor, blah, blah, blah. And they go on to say that Russell is aware that Doctor Who fans can never get enough content when it comes to the show, and how it is made, with David and Catherine making a sensational return. He thought the time was right to bring back the behind-the-scenes stuff, which will document their comebacks and show you how the special was made. So, yeah, it all sounds rather good, dude. Can't wait for it. I
must admit, I'm just as excited to see Catherine and David chatting candidly behind the scenes as anything else, because those two are great together anyway. Just naturally funny. Do you remember when they did Nevermind the Buzzcocks, how hilarious Catherine Tate was on that with David presenting? Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, that
David
was
presented
amazing.
it and she was a contestant and she was hilarious. Those two are just brilliant together. So yeah, can't wait for that. Sounds really, really good. Right, in other news, this is great news actually. So the new Doctor Who exhibition that's opened in Liverpool, it's running till the end of October, so it's running until the 30th of October. There's possibility they might extend it, hopefully, but at the minute, that's the cut-off date. But they're going to be doing a series of special free Doctor Who events at the exhibition, which is really cool. Now, I've been to this, and I absolutely loved it. I went about a month or so back. Absolutely loved the exhibition. Thought it was great. It was like a sort of mini version of the Doctor Who experience. So I recommend it to any Doctor Who fan. In fact, I recommend it to anybody. It was a I don't think you need to be a Doctor Who fan, because I remember walking around and just hearing like kids telling their parents what things were, like, you know, oh, this is a Weeping Angel mum sort of thing, and they're like, oh right, you know. So I think anybody could just go and enjoy this exhibition. It's great. So they're doing a few events. They sound very, very cool. So from the 20th of July, which has just started, up till the 24th of August, they're doing an Edge of Time VR experience, so virtual reality experience, where you can travel in the TARDIS through virtual reality and solve puzzles to earn time crystals. So that's very cool if you like your VR stuff. They're doing a Make a Sonic Screwdriver. So they're going to be, I don't know if they're actually going to be welding in there, I'm not sure, but it says... where is it? It says, join Steam Engineers to make your own light-up sonic screwdriver to take home in this special event. We'll learn all about circuits and build a simple one ourselves to light up wooden sonic screwdrivers. So that's very cool. Imagine that, leaving the exhibition with your own, homemade sonic screwdriver. Amazing. They're also going to be showing you microbit sonic screwdrivers. So basically... create an LED circuit to light it up, and showing you all that. Because that's the thing about this exhibition. It's not just showing you the props from the show. It's quite immersive. They really want you to learn things from Doctor Who. So it's I say educational. It's not like you stand in front of a teacher and they sort of bore you to death with information. There's just, as you walk around, there's sort of things you can sort of, like screens you can touch and move things around on and learn about things. And so if you want to just walk around and look at the props, you can, or you can sort of read all the information on the walls, and there's lots of interactive things. They're also doing a Build a TARDIS. So join us to make your own TARDIS using recycled materials, which will be displayed in the museum afterwards. Amazing. How cool is that? And they're also doing a Create a Costume. Join artist Jane Gordon for a drop-in family workshop to create all kinds of weird and wonderful costumes from materials inspired by your favourite Doctor Who character. So some really great events, and I think most of these are running from now up to, it looks like, the 11th of August, I think. So the next sort of few weeks. But yeah, check Gary put the link in the show notes to this. But it's if you're going to go there, or you can get up for this exhibition, it's worth it. It's really good fun. And those events sound great, don't they? They're really sort of nice. Like, you can tell they've put some thought into that. Really nice events, free events to go to.
They do. They sound very, very cool. And I chuckled actually when I saw the build a TARDIS one, because I just had visions of some lad or some girl ringing their parents like, right, I'm ready to be picked up now, but you're going to need to bring a van. A fairly large van.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be very cool though. And this is the kind of thing that really gets fans, especially new Doctor Who fans, really engaged in that stuff, because it's really similar to the sort of things that you would go over to when you go over to Disney World in Florida and you do the whole Star Wars thing. They've got all this stuff there where you build your own lightsaber and all that stuff. And when you see YouTube videos of people doing that, it's like so... people are just in their element, and they just get lost in that whole world for half an hour to an hour, however long it takes. It's just so cool. So I'm really glad that they're doing it for free as well. That's very cool. So you can just drop in, and just having a quick whiz through the times. It's normally a morning and an afternoon slot. So it's normally sort of 10:30ish until 12:30ish. And then again in the afternoon between sort of 1 and 3, 1 and 4ish. So yeah, as Adam said, I'll stick a link, go and check it out. And if you're up that way, then go and see the exhibition, of course, anyway, go up there and see all that. But this stuff is very cool. So yeah, looks very good, bud.
I hope they either extend it or it moves on to another location, because it's such a cool exhibition. I hope, like, when it comes to the 30th, that isn't just it. They just pack up the costumes and put them away again. I really hope it carries on either there or somewhere else. Yeah, because it's such a cool little exhibition.
It is. But yeah, I still need to get up there myself and
do it. Honestly, it's great. Yeah.
Cool. Right. Well, that wraps up the news. Dear Doctor Who fan, we are now going to jump straight into our review. So this week, dude, what are we doing?
Yeah, so back to Miracle Day. I think, is this episode 5? I've completely lost track. I think it is, yeah. Yep. And it's called... oh, no, I can't read my own writing. What is it called? Something...
Categories of Life.
Oh, yeah. God, my writing's terrible. Categories of Life.
And today, United Nations has officially sanctioned the new category system with immediate effect.
I'm joining the cause. Whatever you're doing to fight this miracle, count me in.
That's where they're taking your father, and that's where you're going. To get him out.
The government now has the power to decide whether you're dead or alive.
Well, they're gathering all the category 1s. And the question is, what are they using the bodies for?
So we need to get inside the camp to find out what those modules are.
God knows what FICO is doing.
Do you realize what happens when you make somebody one?
Look, he's my dad, okay? He's my father. Now I need you to look after him.
And what is this place? Man has risen again.
Risen again, apparently.
What's that word he has to say?
Important
Revolution.
word, isn't it? Revelation, yeah.
Revelation.
Yes. Okay then, Torchwood. Miracle Day. We're getting through it. This is episode 5. And it was first broadcast back on it was the 5th of August, 2011 in the US. And then we got it on the 11th of August here in the UK. It was written by Jane Espenson, directed by Guy Ferland, and stars the same sort of principal cast as we've had up to now. So John Barrowman, Eve Miles, Mekhi Phifer, Alexa Havins as Esther, Bill Pullman as Oswald Danes, Kai Owen and Arlene Tur as Vera. And the synopsis is really short for this one. It just says, Torchwood goes undercover and discovers the terrible truth behind the miracle.
Oh, right.
A little bit generic,
Well,
that. Yeah.
Do they discover? Well, I suppose they discover a bit more. Yeah. We're still not getting many answers, really, are we? It's still a lot still unknown in this series, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a premature synopsis at this point in the series. But anyway, we're up to series episode 5. So what did you think to this one, Bud? Because last week, to fill anybody in that didn't listen last week or you missed it, there was... We had 2 weeks ago we had this review where we were like, it sort of feels a little bit filler, mid-series dippy, but it wasn't too bad. There was a few little nuggets in there that we could get on board with. So this one then, is it still the same, or have we dipped, or is this really cool in your eyes? What do you think?
No, to me this is the same actually. That it had a bit of meat on the bones this episode, so there was a few more scraps thrown in, a few more little bits thrown in to keep me intrigued. And I think now I know the feel of this series. You know, now I know the sort of pacing of it. I'm finding it an okay watch. I mean, I don't think it's great by a long stretch, but I think now that I know how it all sort of plays out in terms of the style of the series, does that make sense? Because the first couple of episodes, it feels so different from the Torchwood we've had before. I think it's been quite jarring, really. And I think it's taken me to get to this point to sort of just settle back and just watch the series for what it is rather than what I sort of want it to be. So, yeah, I watched it last night and I thought there was a few good moments, a few horrific moments, a few interesting moments, but it's very much the same as last week. It's sort of just treading water again, and I don't feel like we're any sort of closer to particularly finding out any big revelations. It's a mid-series episode, so I think I maybe was expecting like a bit of a game changer, you know, something thrown in there to make us go, to hook us into the rest of the series, which didn't really happen. It's weird because, I don't know, you probably don't get this because you're watching it on iPlayer, aren't you?
Yes. Yep.
See, I'm watching it I've got the Blu-ray set, and each episode starts with a mini sort of 30-second introduction from John Barrowman and Russell T Davies, which I'm assuming you don't get.
No, not on iPlayer. No.
Well, it's quite funny, really, because they are really trying to inject some life into it, especially John Barrowman, but it feels so forced, honestly. In fact, this one was quite funny, which is why I mentioned it, because you got John Barrowman, he's like, so, Torchwood, episode 5. You know, he's really trying to sell it to you. But Russell is almost desperate. He actually says something like, please watch this one. It's because this one we find out something like he's almost begging people to not give up watching it. It's a very strange little, and I've had this for every episode so far. They do this little introduction, and if you ever get a chance to watch them, just out of curiosity, because it is strange. It's just Russell and Barrowman sort of desperately telling the viewers what's coming up in the episode, and please watch it. For me, it's another half decent episode. It wasn't anything great, but it had some couple of good moments. It had that shocking moment with Vera, which we'll come on to at the end, which was quite harsh. Oswald Dane got a good moment towards the end. I thought was kind of gave the episode a bit of a lift. His speech thing at the end. But I'm not enthralled by this series at all. I'm happy to put it on and watch it, and it plods along, and it's okay. It's an all right watch, but I'm not engrossed by it at all. And so it's just another okay episode for me.
I concur.
Aha,
my friend, I concur. It's okay, isn't it? It's very much on the same par as we had last time for episode 4, where the story's kind of plodding along, but nothing groundbreaking is happening to keep you sort of really wanting more and get through the series. It's just like, here's a bit more hand holding, we're going to reveal a little bit more and a little bit more, but I don't know, nothing's grabbing me. And we said it a few times when we reviewed the last series. By the time we got to the end of each episode through Children of Earth, it was just this crazy like fear, like FOMO massively. Like it was almost like, I can't wait for 2 weeks to review this again. We have to keep watching it. So but I'm not getting that at all with this. I think it's an okay watch as you're going through the episode, and you feel like, okay, that's not too bad. Oh, that bit's not too bad. That's not too bad. But then you get to the end of the episode and you're like, right, okay. I can wait. I can wait those 2 weeks to watch the next one for the next review sort of thing. I certainly haven't got any wants. I feel like I don't want to, like I'm desperate to stick the next one on, if that makes sense. So it's weird because you feel like at this point in the game, because how many episodes are left after this? 3? Another 5? Is it 10 or 8? I can't remember, but
it's 10, I think.
Oh, 10, isn't it? So we're halfway through, and that's the thing. It doesn't feel filler. It just feels. Oh, there's a word here. I'm sure there's a word here. It feels expected. Like it's an expectant thing you're going to see, and I think that the biggest thing that they were trying to do with this one is they were trying to get across this kind of thought that, like, okay, this is nothing really to do with the people behind this. They're still trying to peddle this sort of FICOR thing, but this is more around how the human race is now dealing with the thing, which is which is the title of the episode. It's about, okay, we have people that are at various stages of health and death. Basically, it sounds quite dark, but that's the thing. It's okay. We've got these people that are injured, but they're not quite on the emergency list, so they're a category whatever 3. Then we've got the people that are in serious beep but are not supposed to be dead. Like if the miracle wasn't happening, they would be seriously injured, but they wouldn't have died from it. They're like 2. And then I think category 1 is you would absolutely have died if it wasn't for the miracle. And because of that, they've categorized people and then sent these people who are just taking up resources to these quote unquote overflow camps, which is very morbid. And they can sense, like the Torchwood peeps, they can sense that this is not right. The public is like, this is terrible. And it's not until the very end of the episode we get the reveal about what they call modules. Is it modules are? Modules?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. And which is essentially, and this is very dark, so turn us down, listener, if you don't want to hear this bit, but essentially this is incinerating people. So it's really dark because...
Bleak.
It is bleak, yeah, because you think, okay, at this point, well, up to this point anyway, we've just done okay with, like, they're filling up hospitals, they're taking these people to different sites and whatever. They're kind of dealing with it. But behind the scenes, we know that the people who are higher up the chain, whoever they are, military, doctors, or whatever, they've decided that can't do that anymore. We have to get rid of people. It sounds horrible, but that's the thing. And they didn't play on that, really. They didn't really play on that. The only sort of thing that we got, because that was the horrific bit of the story, but then we didn't really get that. They really should have ploughed into that a bit more. The only thing we got in relation to that is Gwen trying to get her dad out of the overflow camp, because she knows, like the rest of the Torchwood people, that this overflow idea and these modules, whatever, they do not sound good at all. So she's desperate to get her dad out of there, and then something happens to him anyway, and blah, blah, blah. The rest of the time, really, it's just the same as we got last time. It was go undercover for a little bit, try and get some information. What's Oswald up to? Absolutely nothing. Hasn't moved on at all from last time. He's just giving another public speech on TV. The little PR woman, she's not doing anything different. So, yeah, it's weird. It's frustrating on one hand because they had a really cool, albeit horrific, addition to the story. But then on the other hand, it's like, we're no further ahead. So
it feels like that's it, doesn't it? It feels like they've got some good ideas thrown into this series, but there's so much space in between that those good ideas are just not coming off in the way that they should. And that's the other thing, isn't it? I feel like we're repeating so many things from previous episodes. Like the Torchwood team, one of the good things about this was that they've started to work together again, so they're getting stuff to do, so that makes it more interesting. But then we had that 2 stories back where they got together and then they split up again and had an argument. We had the undercover thing with Rex this time going into cover, which we had like the previous episode. So it's just the same ideas, over and over again, isn't it? Like you said, Dane Oswald losing popularity again, but then managing to turn it around again. It's like it just feels like they've got some good story structure, but in between that, it's just a merry-go-round of the same. Okay, so they're going to go undercover. They're going to discover one more little nugget of information. Then they're going to get caught. Dane's going to get the audience back on his side, but then he's going to lose them. But then he's going to get them back on his side because of the PR woman. And so, but we'll throw in somebody telling the PR woman that she's doing a good job, so that there's a mystery there. Who's that? Who's she working for? So you know what I mean? They've got these good ideas, but it's so thinly stretched out over the course of this series so far that it's just not coming together very well, I don't think. I mean, do you have any idea who's behind any of this stuff? I mean, I'm already a bit sort of lost, really, of what's going on. I think because of the huge gaps in between the storytelling in terms of the filler. There's so much filler in this series, it's unbelievable. Because of that filler, I'm not even really sure like what the mystery is or what's going on. So who's Phi Corp or whatever they're called? Who's behind the Miracle Day? How has it happened? Do we have any sort of bits of information that we might have gleaned over the 5 episodes or not? Because I'm none the wiser.
Not really. It's just been a bunch of little moments that have happened that have led you to think, well, this is obviously sinister. I think we had the realization, when they broke into the warehouse a couple of episodes ago, the Phi Corp warehouse, and they had discovered that they had been stockpiling everything because they knew that this event was coming. So that kind of led you down the hole. The Phi Corp thing is obviously bad news, it sounds like. But then you had these other little bits that made you think, well, obviously the people who run Phi Corp or this other whole group of people have sent an assassin to take out Jack and so on. That didn't work. And then we had the guy who was the head of, the head of the CIA, I guess, whatever intelligence agency that Rex works for, and Esther and so on. The guy who was on the phone to that mysterious whoever it was. And so we had that. And then recently... Is that
the Jurassic Park guy?
Yes, him, yeah.
Yeah, what's happened to him?
Yeah, because he was on this kind of special phone call. He had a dedicated phone that, Anyway, and then I think the most recent one is the PR woman, the ginger-haired woman. What's her name? Jilly Kitzinger, is it? Yes.
Kitzinger, yeah.
She was approached by this mystery dude, wasn't she, in this one, where he was...
You're doing a good job. That one.
He was like, yeah, the right people are watching, and she was intrigued. And so, yeah, they're kind of putting the breadcrumbs down so that when we get to the end of the series, we can trace it back and be like, oh, it's because of that. But right now, I'm with you. It's kind of, I'm wondering how long they're going to leave it before they reveal who the bad guy really is, or the bad guys, and then have to have the Torchwood guys deal with that, or whether they're just going to keep going and going. It's going to be the penultimate episode or the last one where we find out and stuff. So
I get the feeling we won't find out to the end, and I also get the feeling it's going to be an underwhelming conclusion. I don't know, I could be wrong. I really hope I am. You mentioned the thing about Gwen there with her dad. For me, that was kind of the best bit of the story, really, because it was the only bit for me that had a bit of heart to it, because it was great to see Gwen back on home ground. That sort of felt a little bit more like the Torchwood of old. It was great to see Reese dressed up as a driver, and those two, having their little moment in the airport pickup bit. So that was fun. That was, again, a bit more like the old Torchwood. So those scenes were good. And obviously, because we've sort of, got a slight attachment to Gwen's dad, because it's Gwen's dad, we want to see him survive. So again, it's important to care about the characters with a story like this, because if you don't, it'd be even more boring than it already is. So that. So for me, those scenes were probably the best. When I was sort of rooting for Gwen to get him out of there, but I don't know. I also felt like Gwen would normally just march in and take him out, but she sort of tried to do that, but failed, didn't she? Really, but a
little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, but those bits are good. I like the bits with, Gwen being back and her mum having already got all the stuff on the wall and the kids all dressed in pink and Gwen's not very impressed. Do you know what I mean? Those sort of slightly more, because like you said, it's quite we're going down a bleak road with this storyline. So it needed moments like that really to sort of lighten the mood a little bit. And once again, Eve Miles manages to play those scenes really well.
Yeah, she does.
Unlike some comedic scenes with John Barrowman, which I thought, I don't want to sort of jump the gun here because, we'll talk about cast and performance, I'm sure, but mate, what is going on with Barrowman in this episode? I mean, there's a scene where him and Rex, there's a chance for it to be quite a fun scene where he's being loaded into the ambulance and Barrowman's pretending to be his boyfriend, and he gets sort of a comedic line to do, but he barely, it just sort of throws the line away, almost as if it was an ad lib that they just left in, off the cuff remark. He says, "Oh, that's my old boyfriend," or something. And the way he said the line, it was just it just didn't hit at all. And then when he's in the actual, with the Torchwood team, like with Esther and that line, he's sort of trying to lay down the law, but then, you have no authority over me. I don't know. I just felt like Barrowman is just he's really treading water in this episode. I felt. I do like the bits where he's skulking in the background. Actually, now I think about it, I do like the bit where he's sort of hounding Dane at the end, and he's waiting for him he gives him the speech. So Barrowman's quite good in those bits. I will say that. But then you think the other scenes, he just is he doesn't feel like he's into it really. To me.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think we had a similar thing, didn't we, with him? Again, this was a couple of episodes back where what was it? He had gone out the night before, I think, and was a bit drunk still.
Oh yeah, he's hungover.
He was hungover, yeah. And he was, he was trying to be a bit, there was some bants, and I don't know. It just didn't really come off, I think, the way that he intended it to come off. Like he's relying on his typical Barrowman charm, if that makes sense. When he's either being flirty or whatever. He's got that, typical Hollywood sort of Colgate smile, and he's a very
the Colgate smile.
You know what I mean? He's a very good-looking guy
just
and stuff like
hair,
that. Yeah. But I think sometimes you can't always just dine out on that. You really have to give it a bit of oomph sometimes. You can't just rely on, the kind of confident I'm John Barrowman, so all I need to do is a bit of a smile and a giggle, and it's all good. And I think sometimes, we need more than that with John Barrowman. We definitely need more. And I think some of those lines, even if they're just throwaway, off the cuff little comedic lines, sometimes I think we do need him to just be a bit more. I don't know, but we've had that with him on and off since the bloody beginning. It's not just the comedic stuff, some of the deep stuff, some of them, I don't know. He's like, most of the time he's very good, But I don't know. There's just some times where you just think, give us a little bit more, mate. Come on, just a little bit more.
Well, that bit with the ambulance just felt like a first take to me. It was like, it was almost like a rehearsal, as if you just said the line. I was like, John, you've been sort of given a fairly, you've been given a moment to be funny, and you've just like not bothered. I don't know. Or like I said, maybe it's an ad lib that a line they just left in. I don't know. But he wasn't the only one. I mean, Gilly Kissinger, she's not been too bad actually, but there was a couple of moments of atrocious acting from different people in this episode. There was a bit where she was on the phone to someone going berserk, and I'm sorry, but if I'd have the director, I'd have had to have stopped her and said, what's the actress's name? I'd have had to have said to her, can you just tone that down a bit, because like, it was just so embarrassingly over the top. She's like going, you'll get here right now. And she's like really going for it, but it was so poor. There were a couple of moments with different people like that I just felt like, God, it felt almost like, could this be the first episode that was filmed? Because no one seems to be really hitting their mark in some of these scenes. So I don't know.
Can't all be like Children of Earth, can it? No.
What do you reckon to the other guys in this, like Rex and stuff? Are they any improvement there? Because
yeah, sorry. Before you go on, sorry, we do gush over that series. I know it's only because we were so into it and stuff. It's not really fair to compare.
This is so different.
Yeah. So the other characters. So Rex, then Mekhi Phifer. It's
He's
weird.
drab,
It's
isn't he?
weird. Do you know what it
He's
is, mate?
drab.
He is drab, and I think because we haven't formed any kind of emotional connection to his character, it makes it very, very difficult to empathize with what he's feeling. So at the very end, so there's obviously some stuff there between him and Vera. Although they have, it seems like, well, it comes across to me like they've had a bit of an up and down relationship, not just professionally, but, personally as well. They've been involved, romantically and stuff. And in this one, it felt like they were kind of coming together again from whatever low they were on. They were coming back up. And then, Jackie's like, I assume you two are, staying together and the same, all that stuff. And then at the very end, where we have that horrific bit at the end where Vera is having this kind of ongoing spat with this real idiot that's there, that's managing the place.
This creepy new guy, Creepy Colin, I wrote down.
Creepy Colin, yeah. So very sexist, very just over the top, and just a real beep hole, really. And she's dealing with that, and then it takes a real dark turn, and then he does this thing where you didn't think he was going to do it. I mean, he shoots her in the leg and shoots her in the hand and stuff like that, and you think, okay, he's done. He's clearly shut her up and all the rest of it. But then he needs to cover his tracks. It's horrible. So he's like, we'll test out the giant oven. Basically, throws her in there. Rex finds her because he's sort of undercover. He's gone in faking this kind of like, I'm this category because this thing on my chest. So, but then he's undercover and sees her and he's banging away. He's like, but the thing is, I don't really feel anything about that. Unfortunately, I think what Russell T and some other people were hoping is that we would lean forward to the front of the sofa, hands, cheeks in hands, like, oh my God, no, sort of thing. But I just didn't feel that for him. So, that's a bit unfortunate, I think.
I probably would have felt more if it was Rex in there, to be honest. I mean, although I find his character quite annoying, at least I feel some emotion towards him, even if it is annoying. So even if Rex was in there, I probably would have been saying, oh no, but thinking like, oh Rex, you're annoying, but I wouldn't wish that on you. Whereas with Vera, I haven't really sort of got to know her enough to sort of care too much. Like you said, it's not an OMG moment. It's a shocking thing. It's a shocking moment, but it could be anybody in there, and the thing is, it's a shame actually, because talking of not getting to know Vera, I don't know if you felt this, but there was a couple of moments in this story just before she got shot, where I was starting to think, right, Vera's character's finally coming out. Like, she's quite feisty. I'm quite liking Vera. Oh, she's shot. She's been burnt. Oh dear. So I was just starting to get to know her and just starting to think she was quite a cool member of the Torchwood team, because she's quite strong isn't she? In those scenes just before she gets shot, she goes in there, she tells old creepy Colin, she puts him in his place, hence why he ends up shooting her, because she's standing up for herself. So I was just starting to like Vera and think, okay, she could be a good character, and she's burnt alive. So that was a shame in a way, but yeah, I agree with you. It was a harsh scene, but maybe not quite the ONG moment it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know.
And you're right.
And Rex is so weak as well, and he's banging on the door. I mean, Rex, it's a metal door, mate. And then he films it. You know?
That's the only bit that I did feel for him, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I tell a lie. Now that you've just said that, I remember. That's the only bit where I thought, that is hard to do, regardless of who you are and whatever you feel about somebody. He has to document that. So he's essentially watching and filming someone that he obviously, even though he likes to be a bit macho about it sometimes or whatever, he deeply cares about being burnt alive, and that is horrific. So I did feel in that bit. Yeah.
Same. Yeah.
We're
not totally heartless.
No. Alexa Havins didn't have much to do this week. Esther.
Who? Esther.
Yeah. Very quiet.
Well, I mean, what is the point of her? She may as well not be there. I mean, she may as well be burnt. I mean, because what is the point of her?
Well, we had was it last?
I mean, I'm joking. I wouldn't want her to be burnt, but she's doing nothing, is she?
What was it? Last episode or one before? I think they did try and give us a bit more of a storyline for her that we could latch on to.
Oh, with her family.
With her family, you know, and reporting the kids and stuff like that. So you kind of felt for her. Well, you definitely felt for her actually in those moments and stuff. But that's kind of dissipated now, and now she's just back to sitting at a desk on the phone every now and then, not really doing much. And I get that. It's a bit like when we have a busy TARDIS team in Doctor Who. You know, a lot of episodes where you just had Tosin Cole's character, Ryan, is it?
Ryan, yeah.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you just had Ryan in the background for about 20 minutes with his hands in his pockets, just thinking, yep.
It's like, didn't even realise he was on camera.
Yeah, you know, that kind of thing. You can't, it's very, very difficult, I get that, to write a TV show with more than 3 principal cast members and have them doing something all the time, every episode. We get that. But it does feel like she's kind of served her purpose, and now she's just, you know, making up the head count. So, not much.
I think she should have run in the oven and tried to save Vera, and then the door should have slammed and just killed 2 birds with 1 stone.
God.
And maybe get Rex in there as well. That's the thing, actually. I'm just realising saying this. I mean, I am saying this half in jest, but even just as I'm saying this out loud, I'm realising that I haven't really formed any likeable attachment to any of the characters. I think maybe that's one of the problems, isn't it? Like, Esther's dull. Vera was just starting to get good and she's dead. Rex is just annoying. Who have you got left? Barrowman and Eve. They're kind of okay because we know them, and I still think Eve's great. Gwen, I mean, Eve Miles. But who else is there? Is there anyone else? There's just no attachment to any of these the new Torchwood team. I think that's half the problem. And I mean, what is Russell doing while this series is being made? Is he? Because I feel like he's come up with a concept. He's probably sort of come up with the characters and said to the writers, right, here's the concept, here's the characters, go away and write, a 10-part series, and I'll come in and oversee it and produce it. But I don't feel his input in this series. Maybe that's why it's really lacking. I don't feel Russell's heart in this series at all. You know? So was he away writing something else while this was going on? Because he hasn't written any. He wrote the first one, didn't he? And I think he co-writes the last episode. But apart from that, he doesn't write any of these stories, does he?
Yeah, you're right. He wrote the first one, Everything Changes, from series 1, and then he hasn't. He wrote most of Children of Earth. Yeah, which says it all. And the only other one that he writes in this series, is the last one, dude. And that's it's co-written. But I feel like, especially this series, Miracle Day, like it has more of because it's more of a joint thing with Canadian and US television company, and it feels more US based and so on. I feel like that influence on it has kind of had an effect on it a little bit as well.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And because he's not been involved in the writing very much at all with this, of course he's on it as exec producer and stuff, and he would have given some input, I guess, but just, there's such a night and day difference, dude, between...
Yeah, I feel like it needed more input from him.
Definitely.
I really do.
Yeah. If you look, if we think back to the reviews that we did as we went through series 1 and 2, we picked out, 2 or 3 really good episodes out of a 13 episode run, roughly on each series. And surprisingly, a couple of those were Chris Chibnall episodes. Mm-hmm. And there was a couple that were really good. And then when we got to Children of Earth, it was just consistently bang, bang, really, really good, because Russell was on board doing the writing and so on. And then we're back to him stepping back, not doing much writing. And it's just...
I just got this feeling he was working on, a bit like when Mothball was writing Sherlock and Doctor Who at the same time, and you could feel he was a bit stretched. Yeah, I feel like Russell sort of come up with this concept and kind of had to go off. He's left them to it. I'll be back later on in the week, but I've got to go and finish this series. I don't know, whatever it would have been. And he's sort of come back, and it's like, this is what they've come up with. And he's probably thought, I don't know, a lot of it probably sounded okay on paper, but I'm not sure it's coming across executed that well so far.
So when was this being filmed then? So this was out August 2011. So this would have been filmed, earlier on that year. So 2011, what was he doing in 2011? Let's stalk
Where were you, Russell? What were you doing?
So 2011, he was...
I might be wrong. He might just be sat in his armchair.
No, he wasn't, Bud. No, not really. So he was doing the Sarah Jane Adventures between 2007 to 2011. And then the only thing he did in between was he was a creative consultant on a BBC One show called Baker Boys. So he wasn't producer or writing anything with that. And then the next project is not until 2012 with the BBC show that he did, Wizards versus Aliens. So,
oh wow, gosh,
so
I forgot about that.
Well, it wasn't off doing anything, bud. So I don't know. Who knows? But who knows?
Who knows? I feel like he should have got a bit more involved if he could have. I don't know. I'm sure he was busy doing something, but yeah. Anyway,
yes. What do you think to Oswald Danes then? Bill Pullman still putting in a good one though on these.
Yeah, I mean, he is giving a good performance, isn't he? I find the scenes of him kind of bring me back into the story a bit. I mean, a bit of the speech at the end was interesting. His character's strange as well, because he flits between this sort of unconfident, almost scared character to being quite confident and finding his feet. And I still think he's giving good performance. And I did think the speech bit at the end was quite interesting. Just because you had, Jack and Kissinger in the wings, both wanting different outcomes, and you've got him in the middle, and you're not quite sure what he's going to deliver. So I'm still not sure. I assume what he actually eventually came out with was neither of the speeches that had been given, but was actually just him improvising, I think. Was that what it was supposed to be going on there? He didn't use either of the speeches, did he?
That's right. And it kind of left you as the viewer hanging. So as he got to the end of that speech, you thought, right, is he going to go down the road of, yep, I'll toe the line with this PR thing and make sure I use the magic words, the revelation thing? Or is he going to have some kind of epiphany? Is he going to be like, actually, what this Jack person is saying is actually true? And maybe I should just, blow the lid off the whole thing. But yeah, so that was cool. I mean, that was a really good build-up, actually. I did quite like that scene in the episode, because the music was good. It had this sort of uplifting, emotional score that was going on in the background, and the way he just winged, it was cool. And I like Bill Pullman. He's a good... it must be difficult, no matter how your outlook on life, where you align yourself with certain things. And it's only a character in a TV show, I get that. But the fact that you're playing a convicted paedophile mustn't be... Like when you get home from work and Bill Pullman's wife's like, so how was work today? He's like, oh yeah, the usual, played a paedophile, played a murderer. It was all good, love. Yeah, no complaints, So, which obviously wouldn't be that way, but the fact that he's putting his all into it, you can see that he's really, like, even when the speech is done and, and he's just sort of this weird sort of dance around the stage and he's flinging his arms up and stuff, you can just see that he's really going with it. And that would have been quite difficult to film as well, because I'm assuming with the with the exception of a few people that they had in the front rows, and they kind of fleshed it out a little bit. That would have just been a big empty auditorium.
I would assume so. There's probably no one there.
So, that's obviously the job of an actor, is to use your imagination a little bit, but he would have had to have envisaged in his mind a roaring crowd, really giving him some stick to begin with, and then him turning it around. So, that was a good scene from him. He's a good actor.
It was a good scene, and I'm glad to see him getting a bit of stick as well, because that's one of the issues I've had with this storyline, is that because he is playing this convicted paedophile, I couldn't understand why anybody would sort of get on his side, apart from maybe some very strange people. I couldn't imagine like a mass audience supporting him because of what he'd done in the past. So I've struggled with that storyline up until this point, because I'm just like, well, would that happen? Like you just wouldn't support somebody like that, surely. But they sort of addressed it a little bit in this episode, that you could see that basically he won the crowd over. Again, still not sure that would happen, but it was done in the way they sort of portrayed it on screen was done a bit more realistically this time, whereas people jeering him and shouting at him. And I was thinking, yeah, you wouldn't, I don't get these people that are like, oh, I love Oswald Deans, he's the best. I'm thinking, but he's a convicted paedophile. Would you really be saying that? So it was good to see him getting a bit of a backlash. And yes, obviously with the speech, he won the audience over or whatever. So yeah, it's a bit more interesting. It would have been good as well. I almost half expected to see like a gun, a red dot on his back of his jacket or something, in case he didn't say that word. Do you know what I mean? That would have added to the tension, that because he's obviously being used as a puppet, isn't he, by somebody?
Someone, yes.
So it would have been quite, I felt like if maybe somebody was lurking in the wings with a what do you call it, a sight rifle, just in case he didn't say that word at the end.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's and I'm really hoping, because you and I have seen this series, right? But it was so long ago, and I honestly, I only have little tiny fuzzy sort of images of what happened. I honestly cannot remember what happens to his character. I really can't. But
no, I'm assuming he's going to die.
Of course, yeah.
Also, that's one thing I didn't understand is, so I didn't think he wanted to die. Does he want to die? Because Jack actually says to him, "Look, I'll give you what you want. I'll let you die."
I don't know,
I didn't
dude.
think Dane wanted to die.
I don't think he does. I don't think he wants to die.
So why is Barrowman offering him death? I mean, what?
I think he's guessing. I think he's trying to.
Right.
I think he's trying to get inside his head a little bit and predict what he's actually feeling, instead of this persona that he's putting onto the world.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's Jack just trying to say, look, I know what you really want, sort of thing. What you really, really want. So go and read this thing, and then we can help you. Let's work together. We can sort it out, and then we can. So, but that obviously fails. And I'm glad it did, actually, because we've got 5 eps to go. We can't just, have Oswald sort of keel over and be like, yeah, I was a bad guy, but now, I want to work with you and make the world a better place, so I can, that would have been like, yeah, whatever. So yeah, Bill Pullman, pretty sweet in this one again.
Yeah, pretty sweet. And we've got Jack once again on the beach in full get-up, 300-degree heat on the beach, and you've got Barrowman swooning down there and in full coat. And Jack, he must have been baking. I mean, surely has he not got, like the Doctor has like his summer, like when he goes to Seville, he's got his nice little flowery waistcoat. And when he went to the planet of, the Davison one where he goes to wherever it is, he's got his nice little waistcoat. Surely Barrowman's he can take that coat off on the beach, surely.
I know.
He just looks ridiculous swanning around on the beach in that coat, right? And he must have been baking.
Well, we had the second Doctor legging down the beach in a big furry coat, didn't we?
Yeah, what was that for?
So, what was that from again? That was like a little...
It's a flashback thing.
It was a flashback
it's really
thing,
weird.
Yeah,
because I remember saying at the time, why don't remember the Doctor on a bit? Anyway, yeah.
That sure. Coat. What do you think to last couple of characters then? So we had Vera, poor Vera. So she decides, like, when she finds out about this whole category thing that they started to label people as, she hates that idea. No good. Yeah. So she's like, Torchwood, you need my help. I'm on board. What can I do? So you kind of like a little fist bump in the air. It's like, yes, like she's, she's joined the cause sort of thing. She's going to, help sort it all out. And then lo and behold, she's a goner. Actually, she can't, because with some people like Rex who have been injured to a degree that, this is also weird, dude, right? I need to ask you this because I just thought of it. There's a scene where Rex is explaining so Vera's turned up at the Torchwood sort of temporary base. They're in there, they're talking about what's going on with these categories and so on. And Rex says to Vera and to everyone else, presumably, that he doesn't understand what category he's in because he's like, I should have died because of this. And then he says, but this is starting to heal. He's like, I'm starting to heal. So what category am I in now? And Vera, so how does that work? I'm pretty sure it was like one or the other. It was like you were injured and that was it. Your body doesn't do anything. So did you get why he said that?
No, I didn't get it at all. This is why I wonder if, because we're having so many different writers on this series, if there's a bit of inconsistency here, or if maybe people are starting to heal. But no, that didn't make sense to me either. Because I keep thinking back to the chopped up, the fried body that they chopped the head off of, right at the start of the series. There was that thing on the slab that had been charred, been burned to death, but it was still alive. So that's what I'm also thinking of in the incinerator thing. So I thought nobody could actually die no matter what you did.
Exactly.
But if you burn them to death I don't know. Again, it just feels a little bit inconsistent in what we're being told here. But maybe things are changing. I mean, we don't know how this miracle day has even happened in the first place, or if somebody's done it, or is it just a miracle that's happened? We still don't know much about Miracle Day itself or why it's happening. So maybe things are changing and people can start to heal. I don't know.
That was the thing, wasn't it? Because in the first episode, I think we had that body that was on the medical table. Yeah. And its head was detached.
That's what I mean. They said there's nothing you can do to kill anybody.
Yeah. And that body was burnt and charred and everything like that. So I can only assume, I think this makes sense, that in these big ovens, basically, that the temperature's so high that it just literally, burns away you're literally dust. Yeah, like literally. So, anyway, I don't know. So there's no coming back for Vera. So no. Arlene's I think that's her done now for Torchwood, it seems. Unless somebody at the very beginning of the next episode shuts the oven off and she hasn't been affected by it. But then again, Rex's face looks pretty upset as he was filming through the window, so I don't know. I want to see her burst out like the Terminator 2, like all in flames, like coming out of the oven. I'm still alive. Oh God, yeah. I don't know. I think Vera as a character, I think, was just getting going. So I kind of would have preferred Esther to. If you're going to get rid of a character, I think Esther's so boring. Unless she's going to come good in the next 5 episodes, she might do. I mean, I hope she does. Actually, I hope they do something with the character. Really do. Because she's just a desk jockey at the moment. Yeah. She's like the sort of, how Tosh used to get stuck behind the computer a lot of episodes, but at least Tosh was interesting and put a bit of life into the character. Esther's like a watered down version of Tosh, a very watered down version. Yeah, a little bit. Any more characters, dude? Kai Owen, Reese, he was cool. Yeah, it's always good to see old Kai. He brings a bit of fun back into it, doesn't he? In his chauffeur outfit. Yeah, and he's doing a good job of supporting Gwen as well, because she's losing her rag a couple of times, and he can see, he's like, look, if you keep going, you're going to get arrested and you'll be no good then. So he calms her down a little bit, and he still lets her. She's obviously listener, actually is a good point. If you've never seen Torchwood before, or you've never watched it, Gwen Cooper is a great character for the most part, especially in the last series, and she's really headstrong. So I don't think he's a sort of guy that's ever going to be like, no, you can't do that, obviously, or you shouldn't be doing that. I think he'll always let her. That's the wrong word. Let her. He'll always just sort of be by her side as she's cracking on and doing that stuff. But he's also got that calming influence at times, I think. And he's a great character, Reese. Very good. Like Reese.
Yeah, I do like Reese. PC Andy's back for a little bit as well.
PC Andy.
You can see how PC Andy is back.
Oh, he's cool actually. Tom Price. He's
all right. Yeah.
Yeah. I like PC Andy. Yeah, gets on well with Gwen. Yeah. But he was only in it for a few minutes, but still pretty cool. Who else did we have? I think that was it, really.
Just Creepy Colin, that new character. I mean, he's a good, sinister character, isn't he? The one who throws Vera in the fire pit. Like, he's got the potential to be a good villain, if you like. But I don't know if he's like going to be a main character or if he's just literally come in for this one bit. I don't know. But I mean, the actor himself, no offense, looks a bit creepy and he really plays up to that. So,
yes.
Yeah, he gave me the creeps, that guy. Creepy Colin.
Creepy Colin. Yes. All right, then. I think that's it. What about Eve Miles, then? Because, we don't need to say much, do we? She's just mega consistent and great as always.
Yeah, she is good. Yeah.
She's good. Okay. I've got nothing else on my notes, dude. I don't know about you.
No, only the music. I mean, we spoke about Murray Gold earlier, still not particularly liking his music in the series. No, there was no screechy American guitar this week, which was good, but I still didn't like the music because I feel like it doesn't fit. There are dialogue scenes where the music's just playing in the background as if Murray's just gone in and pressed play on a cassette player. It doesn't fit. You know what I mean? There were sort of scenes where Gwen was talking to Reese and you've got this sort of plodding on music, and I'm thinking, no, that doesn't have the right, that's not the right tone for the scene at all. I just feel like Murray's delivered a soundtrack, instead of actually, like they sometimes will play the music alongside watching the scene. Yes, I feel like Murray's just delivered a soundtrack and they've just used whatever bits they think sound okay with certain scenes because they don't fit the right tone for me in this episode. And in fact, in this series so far, it's just the music's just tonally wrong.
You're right. It was like that in a couple of places.
Yeah, it's just a bit overbearing. It's like it's not complementing the scene at all.
Yes. Yep. No, I get that. Yeah, maybe Segan should have jumped on.
Yeah. Waiting in the wings. But no, I've got nothing else to say on that, dude. I think I haven't got anything else on my notes.
Same, dude. So let's go on to scores, and I think it's me to go first. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10 because it wasn't a terrible watch, and I'm going to sound like a broken record as we go through the series. I think it wasn't a terrible watch, but there were a few bits in there that I could get into. Just wasn't quite. Yeah, just nothing outstanding that's making me think, oh wow, this is just some amazing Torchwood, and I can't wait to watch. It's just it's not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah,
I'm a 6 as well. To be honest with you, 6 sounds a little high for me, but 5.5 is quite bad, and it's not bad. It was, like you said, enough to sort of keep me going and watching it. And we're halfway through the series now, dude, and although I'm not loving it, there is enough just to sort of keep me. I do want to get to, I think probably by episode 3 or 4, I was thinking, God, am I going to, I think when it was on TV, I don't think I ever finished the series. I don't know. But I'm episode 5 now, and there is enough to sort of just about keep me going. I'm intrigued enough to want to finish it. I don't feel like I want to give up. So although I'm not loving it by any stretch of imagination, I am sort of into it in a sense. Does that make sense? Yeah. The characters are a bit weak and stuff, but there's enough going on to make me want to get some answers and get to the end of the series. But I really hope the next sort of 5 episodes deliver something new, because we are going round in circles a bit at the minute in terms of story. So, but yeah, there's enough to keep going. I feel something for it that I didn't feel when it started.
Makes sense, dude.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So I sort of want to get to the end. Yeah.
Okay. All good. That's a 6 from us then on that one. So what did our listeners think? We had a few over on Twitter. We had Will Sanger says, it's better than most of the previous episodes. I have to admit, I like the scenes of Gwen trying to get her dad out of the overflow camp with Reese. However, the storyline feels overstuffed, and by this point I feel like I should have a better idea of what is going on.
Yes, definitely.
Very good, Will. Yep, that's a good one. Doctor Who Holmes says, going back to Cardiff to rescue Gwen's dad was the best thing to happen since episode 1. It brought the heart back to Torchwood, but once that's cast aside, it's a bit waffly. 6 out of 10. Another good one, Owen. Chippy T says mid-season equals high octane stakes. The cross-Atlantic break of the camps is well handled, tense and fraught with danger. The revelation that the Category 1s are dispensable is terrifying. Gwen and Rex are on top fear form. This is more like it, an 8 from me.
An 8, okay.
And lastly, Jordan, one of our writers, says, this episode traumatised me when I was younger and left me with serious phobias. I imagine my horror seeing outdoor clinics during COVID, like ones here, and Vera's death is just as horrifying now as it was then. And I've got a fear of burning. Oh dear, Jordan. Jesus, not a good one for you. And Miracle Day was too disturbing for me. Oh, Jordan. Yeah, there's probably a few people like that, dude. Thank you very much. Over on Twitter, we just had one over on the Facebook from Patrick Bogard, and it's more of an observation, really. Interestingly, Miracle Day takes place in 2011, so this must have all been going on in the background of The Impossible Astronaut and Closing Time.
Oh, interesting.
That is interesting, isn't it? Obviously, you can't account for that.
No.
Otherwise, you'd be in a real big spaghetti junction of a brain trying to... anyway, yeah, that's a good observation. Yeah, cool. So thank you very much, all of you that have got in contact. That's very cool. Next week, Bud, we're back to modern Doctor Who. So what we got then?
Yes, Matt Smith next week. And it's so hot here in the UK that we need a bit of cooling down. So we're going to be watching The Snowmen, the Christmas special. Yeah.
Yes, I'm not going to lie, but that's exactly the reason why I put that on there for next week. I thought it's so hot. We need to be watching something that at least makes us psychologically feel a bit cooler. Yeah, we couldn't have the what was the Matt Smith episode where they all turn red skinned and it's just really baking hot all the time.
What, the Almost People?
Is it the Almost People? No, I don't know. There's
Or 42, where Tennant's burning up inside the spaceship.
Oh God, yeah. Anyway, next week then, some snow to bring the temperatures down a little bit with the snowmen. So, get that watch, because we'll be asking for your thoughts as always on that stuff. And I think we'll wrap it there, dude. That's a good time to wrap it for episode 359.
Okay.
Thank you for coming back and listening to another episode of the Big Blue Box podcast. That was episode 359. Thank you so much for listening. As Adam said, next week, for Modern Doctor Who Week, we are going to look at The Snowman, the 11th Doctor story. So get your Blu-rays, your DVDs, your BritBox, not BritBox, iPlayer, get all that fired up, get it watched, because we'll be asking for your thoughts and opinions on that. As always, you can do that on the Twitter and the Facebook. Just look out. I think every Monday I schedule a post to go out asking for your thoughts, so just keep an eye out for that. And if you're not following us on the socials, make sure you do that. Just go to the website bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. There are links there, or just do a search, because we chat Doctor Who throughout the week. And obviously, make sure you are following and subscribing to this very podcast in your fave podcast app, as we plop a new episode out every Friday. So make sure you do that. And while you're on the website, check out the reviews and articles from our writing team. Some very cool stuff from those guys. And you can also link off to our free Discord server. You can link off to that, jump in there and chat Who with other Who fans. Also, check out Adam's channel over on YouTube. It is, of course, The Geek's Handbag.
Yes, and I've plopped out many videos on there. Go and have a look at that. That's what you said. So go and have a look at my channel.
As he plops out lots of videos. Go and do that. God. Right, until next week then. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember, actually no, Adam's on the socials too, so go and do that. So almost forgot. Until then, my name's Gary, he's Adam. And remember...